Well, it's been about 6 months since I've done an estate sale video. And boy, have I heard it in the comment section. I've had questions about why there haven't been any estate sale videos recently. I've had people tell me that I should put more estate sale content onto the channel in order to get more videos out. I've had people tell me that they're not watching as much because I don't make estate sale content anymore. And I've had people tell me they're unsubscribing because I haven't put out any estate sale videos recently. So I figured that given how many comments that I've received about this, it was time to make a video that I could refer to when these questions keep coming up. And I was sort of hesitant to make a video like this because, next thing I know, there could be some incredible estate sale that comes up next week. And then the next thing you know, there you go, I'm out at an estate sale. But it's been 6 months, so I figured, all right, it's been enough time, been enough questions. Let me explain at least what's been going on the past 6 months. So it's not one simple answer. There are many different factors that all kind of came together at the same time that's specific to me and is specific to the area that I live in. And, for many years, people watching this channel were very jealous of where I lived in the central New York area, Syracuse region, given how many amazing estate sales that there were. And people, would comment from other areas of the country like California and say, we don't have estate sales like that by us. It's amazing to watch. People from other countries who don't have anything like what we have, here in the United States, and even more specifically in central New York, based on how great they were, really enjoyed watching them. And there's a voyeuristic aspect to estate sale content that people really love that makes those types of videos very different from other videos like going to a flea market or garage sale. People love exploring somebody else's home. It's one thing to go to their garage. It's another thing to explore their basement, their bedroom, their closets and stuff like that, and uncover all sorts of, interesting things. So I get it. I get why people enjoy it. And I still love estate sales. So again, why haven't I been going to them? Well, one reason is that the landscape has changed in this area in terms of what's been going on with the dealers. There have been some major changes over the last, let's say, year or so. Number one of the estate sale dealers who did a lot of sales in this region, I went to many of her estate sales. One of my favorite ones was the Magician estate sale. If you never saw that, you should check it out. There's even a follow-up to that one where everything was free the next, actually at the end of the day, everything was free. It was crazy. But she passed away at a relatively young age too. It was very sad. I went to a fundraiser for her and everything. I kept in touch with her, and just a very sad situation. People local to this area know exactly who I'm talking about. So, may her memory be a blessing for sure, because she was such a great person. In fact, one of my favorite sales ever that I went to, I never even filmed it. It was before I even was doing the channel, was at one of her estate sales. It was an amazing attic. I absolutely loved it. I still have great memories of it to this day. And I told her that recently before she had passed away. Then another estate sale company had a lot of family members pass away who were helpful to that person's business. And so as a result, compared to there being an estate sale every week or every couple weeks, now this particular place only does a couple of estate sales a year. And some of those estate sales were some of my best performing videos, including one that's over 500,000 views. So that has pretty much dried up. Another estate sale company The people in there who run it have gotten much older, and it's just become more physically demanding, and they're not doing as many sales anymore. In fact, the most recent one that I went to, and I filmed that one, uh, it took them 9 months to do that sale. That's how much stuff was in the house, but they spent a lot of time processing and pricing all the items in there. So there's just not as many dealers around as there used to be. It would be one thing if some dealers were fading out of the scene and new ones were coming in to replace them. But that's the other problem, is that you don't have newer estate sale dealers coming into the area to take over those roles, at least not right now. Now that could change, but that's how it is right at the moment. And it's been that way for last 6 months to a year or so. That being said, there are some other local dealers who I've had some success going to, and I have good relationships with them, and they allow me to film. But they don't always have sales, and sometimes the sales are not ones that I want to go to. So one of the things that I've noticed, and I noticed this with other dealers as well, including some of the ones who've faded out of the industry a little bit more or not doing as many, is that there's been a trend, and I'm curious if you've noticed this in your area, is that more and more people are doing what they refer to as clean estate sales. Clean estate sales. They advertise it as clean. That's not what I want. I don't want a clean estate sale. I want one that's messy, that's disorganized, where stuff's scattered all over the place, where there's tons of stuff and I've got to dig through it. Pick and pull. That's what I love. If I see pick and pull, I'm there. I actually told one of the estate sale dealers, he might be watching this video right now. I told him, I said, if you put the word clean in your ad, I'm not going. Just so you know, I am not going to the sale. For me to put an estate sale video on this channel, I have to love it. I have to want to go, and it has to be something that I know the audience is going to want to see. There's one of the other problems with the clean estate sales. There's several issues with that I've noticed. Number one, it's mostly furniture, and I'm not buying that typically. Two, most of the rooms in the advanced pictures are pretty barren. There's just not much in there. So you look at it and you're like, what is there for me to actually go and find? Not much, if anything, really. And how is that going to be fun for me, and how is that going to be fun for you? It has to work for both of us. So yes, could I have gone out to some estate sales that have been advertised recently? Yes. Would you have enjoyed them? No. And I'm not going to put out content just because it says estate sale on it that you're not really going to like. So that's something that I have to weigh carefully. I also have to look at the type of house it is, how old is the house, where is it located, because those are all things that play into if I'm going to be interested in going to it, or if you're going to be interested in going to it. The other problem with clean estate sales is because they're clean and there's not as much stuff in it, the estate sale dealers have more time to go through the items and to price things up. So there's not really a pressure to liquidate things. And that's why I like the bigger sales that are messier, because there's more of a need to liquidate. There's not enough time for the estate sale dealers to go through every single item. And that's how, as a reseller, and as a dealer, you could get great bulk deals. And that's what you saw me do at a lot of those sales, as I bought a lot of stuff in bulk, and I did very well in a lot of those sales. So what happens when you have these other sales, and this does happen as well, where you might have a sale where there are a lot of things in it. And this actually has happened in a few videos. Fortunately, I've been able to still find some stuff to make the video worthwhile, but many of you have noticed in the comments that there have been some estate sales where the stuff was really priced super, super high, like priced right at market value, or maybe just a tad below, or sometimes well over market value. So what happens there? Well, first of all, there is one dealer in the area that is known for basically pricing everything like that at the sale. And I just don't go to that person's sales. That's just that simple. I'm just not going. It just doesn't make sense for me. It doesn't make sense for you to watch, because you want to see how, most people watching want to see how they could find stuff where they could make a profit, flip it. What I've noticed is that for some estate sale dealers that are pricing stuff up too high, is that it's not selling. And as a result of that, what's happening is that the dealers are left with a lot of, the estate sale dealers are left with a lot of leftover inventory, and they're stuck with it. And so what do they do with it at that point? Well, they have a couple of options. You might have wondered this, what happens? Some of them keep it themselves and they start hoarding it. And sometimes they try to flip it, but it builds up and builds up and builds up. Some people will keep it in a storage locker. Some people will keep it in a barn. Some people might have a separate business where they could sell some of this stuff. It just depends. Sometimes they'll donate it. Sometimes they'll trash it. But another thing they'll do is they'll sell it to an end lot person who is typically a flea market dealer. So what I have been noticing more and more and more is a lot of leftover material is going to the flea market. In fact, that Babar poster that I recently picked up and I wound up listing it for $50, that was actually at one of the estate sales that I went to, one of the last ones that I went to. So a lot of stuff is showing up actually ironically at the flea market, and that's where my most recent videos have been, is at the flea market. If you've watched, now some of you may not have, and you're just tuning in to see, hey, why is he not doing the videos anymore? This is another thing. I've been killing it at the flea market. I mean, the flea market has been absolutely amazing, and we're talking about the winter months where I just have basically one shed to go to. I mean, I can't wait until springtime and summertime. I think it's gonna be amazing. But I've been having a blast there. And another thing that I found when overhearing and also talking to some of the dealers is they are literally going out. They are buying out estates. They're not holding an estate sale. And they're bringing it to the flea market over weeks and weeks and weeks. And they just replace their box truck and cycle it out each time. Think about that for a moment from a business model perspective, because what typically happens with your average estate sale is that it is open Saturday and Sunday with discounts on Sunday. Some are only open on one day. Some are open on 3 days. Rarely someone spreads it out multiple weekends. So that's a problem, because if you only have it open traditionally for a weekend, for Saturday and Sunday, there's usually going to be a lot of stuff left over. So what some people are figuring out is, hey, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to buy out the estate and I'll just bring it all to the flea market over the course of many, many weeks or months. And that's how I'm finding some of this amazing stuff. So the flea market has actually served as a really nice processing hub for me to go to get stuff. The other great thing about it, it's been pretty convenient for me, because I go there on a Sunday in the morning and then I have the rest of the day. The estate sales, typically I'm going to that on a Saturday, then I would naturally go to a flea market on a Sunday, and that pretty much my whole weekend is gone. And that dovetails with some personal stuff. So I have empty nested officially this year. Both my kids are out of the house and they are in college. And so it's me and Mrs. Primetime. And we really don't have much by way of local family around here. So if I'm out all day on Saturday, Mrs. Primetime's home by herself. And, you know, I want to spend more time with her. I don't really feel comfortable like just going out all day and just leaving her here all day, you know, while I'm gone, you know, to an estate sale from like 9 to 2 or 9 to 3 or whatever. And that's another thing. It might say it starts at 9, but with the estate sale, I got to show up at 8 or earlier to get on the list. And then I've got to sit there in the car and I've got to wait for an hour. And then I've got to get out and go sign up on a secondary list. And it's a long time. There's a lot of processing that has to be, it goes into it, a lot of like pre-filming of the house and stuff, which I don't mind doing that. It's just, I'm just pointing out, that's a much different type of situation than just showing up to the flea market and just walking in and getting stuff. It's just way more easier and it's more convenient, especially when you have more time limitations. And I really am enjoying my Saturdays with Mrs. PT. Saturdays where I just get to work more on putting up my listings and things like that. So that's been fun. Now, another thing, and this is really important on a personal level, is that, and some of you know a little bit about this, and I'll be able to talk more about it in March of 2026. But in February of 2024, I took on a really important national role in my profession. And this is separate from my paid full-time job. So then I've got this other thing on top of it, which is technically international because it also involves Canada, but it's a very big role. It takes up a lot of time. And many times it is literally like having a second full-time job, and it's not paid. It's a service-oriented role to do something. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for my profession, and it's a 2-year position. And so it ends in February of 2026, and then I'm completely 100% done. So I knew when I took this position that it was going to involve sacrifices, and it certainly has, and it's definitely impacted the channel. I can't make as much content as a result of this new responsibility. There's just not as much time. And that affects how much time I could put into things on the weekends and when I could even find time to make a video like this one. Typically, it's something that's done, way after hours, late at night, on the weekends, early in the mornings, something like that. So I was really initially just trying to keep the channel going. I had a few estate sales that I could go to, and I was keeping it going from February 2024 with some estate sale content up until a little bit past that. But it's definitely been a big a challenge. So I've just been trying to keep the channel going, and I've got about a year left in this position. Will I be able to keep the channel going for another year? I don't know. I mean, that really depends on viewership, really, and if people are still interested enough to watch the channel. So I've been able to kind of claw through it so far and make it a year through this process. So I'm hoping I could hold on for another year, because once the position ends in mid-February of 2026, I'm going to take a little bit of a rest from it. And I'm going to look forward to, bringing more energy into the channel with some other things, probably restart a live show. And I have some ideas of things I want to do, and I would have more time to make more content, kind of like this. So we'll see. But that's really kind of the update with that in terms of, what's been going on a personal level. It's nothing bad, but it's just very time consuming. And I figured, I even thought I might have to shut the channel down completely, but I figured, no, let me try to keep it going. The channel should always be here. I didn't want to just shut it down for 2 years and not use it at all, because I've seen people do that and then try to come back, and it doesn't usually work, because with the YouTube algorithm, if you're not putting out any videos and then you try years later to come back, your channel is basically dead. It's very difficult to do that. So that's why I didn't do that. And I decided to use this approach of putting out a couple of videos a month. And thank you, by the way, to everyone who has stuck with me and has watched the videos no matter what, and has still been in that comment section. I really appreciate all of you. I don't want to name names right now because I'll accidentally leave some people out, but you know who you are, and I appreciate all of you. For those of you who are just popping in watching this just because you were curious and you did stop watching the channel, you're not watching it enough, I totally understand. I mean, look, there's channels that that I like to watch, and there's certain types of content that they make that I will watch those videos, and other ones that I won't. And there's people who I might tune out for a little bit, and I'll come back a few months later to see what they've been up to. That's normal. That's to be expected. I'm not upset about that at all. I totally get it. The other thing is I feel relatively self-assured with the type of content that I've made in the past with estate sales and how successful some of those videos have been, that I already know I could make good estate sale content. I can make the types of videos that could bring in a lot of viewers and stuff. So, it's not, I don't have any doubt about being able to do that again. It would be nice to see if these flea markets videos picked up a little bit more. They're doing okay. They're doing enough to keep the channel going. We'll see what happens with it. So, all right, let's see what else. Here's the other thing with estate sale videos and estate sale sourcing. When I go estate sale sourcing, I am going because I want to get a lot of stuff. Guess what? I don't need to get as much stuff anymore. I have a lot of stuff, and I'm very mindful of not turning my reselling business into a hoarding situation. I do not want that to happen. So I want to spend more time listing and selling compared to sourcing. I still, want to get great deals when I can find them, and I'm not going to pass up a great estate sale in the future if there is one that has great stuff that I would like. So I'm not, by the way, ruling out going to estate sales again. It's just the bar is higher now for me to want to go. It's much better for me to go to these, the flea market situation or garage sales or toy shows or comic shows and stuff like that, and pick out more individual lots of things rather than feeling like I've got to go to this house and load up with all this stuff to make good YouTube video. And the only way that works, by the way, and the only way it ever did work in the past, would be that stuff that I would pick up would have to be good for my reselling business. And that's another thing that I want to point out. So my business has always been based around reseller first, YouTuber second, not the other way around. There are some people who do it the other way around, and that's fine. That's their model, and that's how it works for them. But for me, it's reselling first, YouTuber second. I've always been mindful. I do not ever want to put myself in a situation where I feel like I have to go to an estate sale and load up with stuff that I do not need in order to make a YouTube video. That's where I think things could start going off the rails, and I'm very mindful of not doing that. So the bar has been raised. Why do I go and source all this stuff and have my reselling business? Like, for my own personal situation, why do I do it? A lot of people ask me that when they know about the professional side of my life. Well, for me, it's been something that has helped pay for my kids' college. It has helped to pay off my graduate school debt. It helped me pay off my mortgage. So, like, there's been a lot of amazing benefits from it financially. It's also fun, and it's like a nice hobby type thing to do. I say hobby, but it really is a big business of mine too. So it's kind of like both almost. But I've never put myself out there as someone who's, the full-time reseller who left their job and just does this, and this is how I survive. That is not me. That has never been me. I've always told people that will never be me. There are plenty of channels you could go and watch if you want to see that and figure out how they do that model. My channel is really more of a entertainment, educational, treasure hunting type channel for someone who is making some extra money as a side hustle. That's what it is. Now, the goal of picking up all this inventory has been to be able to flip this stuff and be able to, pay for the types of things that I mentioned, but also to be there as a backup in case. You never know. I don't care what job you have. COVID showed this. Anyone could wind up losing their jobs, no matter what. Doesn't matter. And you never know. It's never 100% guarantee. So I always wanted to have a backup. I always wanted to feel like I had enough that in the worst case scenario, if I lost my job, if there was some kind of cuts to funding or whatever that, maintain my job, that I would have something to fall back on. And I do have enough stuff that I literally could run an actual business in a store. Like I could literally get a brick and mortar store and sell the stuff that I have if I needed to. But I would just sell it from home. But the point is, I have enough inventory for that. I also want to have enough inventory so that when I retire, I have something to keep me busy. And my plan is to retire in 5 to 6 years. And then I actually will be someone who's doing this full time. And I'll be using this as my main source of income, but also have my retirement, my pension coming in, stuff like that. The other thing is that I'm about to turn 50 next week. 50 years old. So things are changing in my life in terms of, what's going on around me, what's my situation like, how much stuff do I need to source now compared to when I was younger. So things do change. And as a result, I don't find myself with a feeling or pressure that I have to go to estate sales that much. Another issue has been that it's not as easy to film in estate sales as it used to be, especially for me and especially with my channel now that it's more known, especially in my area. I mean, when I showed up to one estate sale, they were nice enough to let me film. It was a family-owned sale. I'll put a screenshot up of the video if I remember, but they actually came up to me and they're like, hey, we know you, we know what you do, but we'll let you film. But just to let you know, we know what you're doing. So like, and I kind of do it on the sly, like in terms of, how I film. I film on my phone. I don't wear big contraption. By the way, let me address this too while I'm doing this video, because this is another common comment that I get. Hey, why don't you get, one of the GoPros or something, and so you have more of your hands free. I don't want to do that. I don't like how that looks. It would make it much more conspicuous, bring more attention from the estate sale dealers and the customers around. It gives kind of that fish lens look. I like to have total control over how I'm filming, when I'm filming. I don't want to have this device on me and everything like that. It's just not me. And it's not how I'm used to filming. So in fact, a lot of people are shocked when they find out that I make my videos just with my phone. So anyway, that's the short answer to that. But even with that, it's been more challenging to film. Some estate sale dealers have flat out banned filming. Some have said that, they just don't want it because the family might not want their house to be filmed. So they're just proactively banning the filming. Some are uncomfortable with social media. They're older estate sale dealers. They don't know so much about it. And so they just say, no, we don't want that at all. And then the other problem is that even for some people who have let me film is kind of a problem sometimes too, because in the comment section, let's say they have some stuff that's priced too high, then the estate sale dealers are getting attacked in the comment section for pricing things too high. And then if they price things low enough to give me a great deal on it, then sometimes they're getting attacked for, making a bad deal for the family. So, they're finding themselves getting attacked in the comment section. So that caused a problem for me in terms of, even though their names are not being singled out, but, some people know who they are and stuff. So it just makes it tricky. And it wasn't like this when I first started the channel, but it's more of a problem now because the channel is more known. And especially for some of these videos, the estate sale videos that I've done that have hit, hundreds of thousands of views, eventually it circles back to the estate sale dealers and they're going to see it. And typically the family's going to see it. And then there've been issues in the past of families getting upset about certain things that they've seen in the videos that they didn't realize were going to be sold. So if you're new to my channel, go check out one of the most famous videos on the channel, They Want It Back. Oh my gosh, remember that situation? So there's all sorts of things like that pop up. But that's the general gist of it, the general explanation. I know it's kind of a long explanation, but I tried to keep it to about a half hour or so. But I will likely go to estate sale video. I likely will make estate sale videos again. It's hard for me to believe there's not going to be another one that comes up that I'm going to like and want to go to. It's just, this is the situation right now. And, if you've watched this channel for since it's been around, it's been here since 2017. So we're going on 8 years on the channel. Things have changed. I mean, I've done primetime news. I've done garage sale videos, estate sale videos, flea market videos, comic videos, shipping videos. I've done so many things, and things just cycle and change depending on what's going on with my life and what I'm interested in at the time. That's one of the good things about the channel. It's also one of the bad things about the channel, because YouTube loves when it's the same type of content over and over and over again. So if you left the channel, haven't been watching it because it's not estate sale content, I promise you, there's really good content on here. There's some really amazing items that I'm finding at the flea market, and it's still educational. It's still fun. There's many ways to support the channel. You could support it by watching. You could support it by commenting. You could support it by liking. You could support it by subscribing. You could support it by sharing the video. You could support it by becoming a member of the channel. If you're new to the channel, I have tons of videos, live shows, member live shows, all the interviews that I did, all the thrift battles. There's so much content available on the members only side, and it's all available for just $1.99 a month. Everyone gets the same access to the content. The higher levels just get different types of perks, but has nothing to do with video content access. Many channels that have memberships don't even do anything besides badges for the $1.99 and no access to any type of video content. You literally get everything for that, and it does support the channel. I just put out these nice new badges for everybody, different colored treasure chests, depending on how long you've been a member, and we've just got a few more to make, and people are liking those. So yeah, appreciate any support that you have for the channel as we try to keep this going. Right now, my goal is to keep the channel going and get to mid-February 2026, and then totally take a fresh look at the channel and see where we want to go from there. Again, I think the biggest change will be bringing back some type of live show. So I'm excited for that, and I'll obviously give you more details on that as we go into the future. So look forward to seeing your comments, and I'll see you at the next one, everyone. Take care.